now in session. You are now tuned in, and I said tuned in, to the Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. Everything about basketball and Lakers and everything else that we see fit. You now tuned in with your boy Big Bear. What's up, fellas? What's going on? How we doing?
What it is, yo?
Oh, man,
back with another one.
Lovely.
That's how we doing.
What I'm saying?
Feeling great.
Smash hit.
Yeah.
Hey, keep it going.
You know what I'm saying, fellas? Yeah. I mean, got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of things going on in that basketball world. How's everybody enjoyed their weekend first and foremost?
It's going. It's been slow and go. Just keep my eyes peeled on this tourney. That's been my focus this weekend. Since Thursday, I've been sitting in front of the TV for the most part when I get the chance to, keeping up on all the games. Yeah. Checking out my bracket to see how bad it's gotten, but I've held up pretty decently considering. You know what I mean?
Man,
I mean, your bracket, but you still got the number one. Yeah, come on now. I mean,
I was gonna say you. Well, let me tell you this much: you're doing better than my Tar Heels. So it is.
Hey now. Hey now.
It's all bad. It hasn't been too many. It's been pretty much what it's been. It hasn't been any real shockers or anything like that. In my opinion,
even if it has been, those teams that would be Cinderellas have not stuck around long enough to enjoy that storyline. So that's been the issue.
Yeah.
Like, you've got a couple of upsets, but as soon as they got past that major upset, they disappeared from us. So we don't have that going right now. We'll see how it goes, and maybe Colorado State can be that team this year. Colorado State.
Colorado just got eliminated.
Well, never mind. Just as we spoke, never mind that.
Man, a nail biter, buzzer beater.
News, man.
Yeah, we'll see. You see how it goes.
They lost 7-1, 7-2 at the buzzer.
I was gonna say fadeaway jump shot took him out.
Okay, so that billion is still out there waiting for somebody to get it right one of these years. I'm
to say, listen,
wow,
ain't gonna be me. I tell you that much.
To that dog.
Just like that, Colorado.
They might be it. Oh, never mind.
I might be. It's a wrap, man.
But it speaks to why the tournament is what the tournament is. Like, you literally never know. One minute you're there, and the next minute you got snot on your jersey, and you're holding your teammates for the last time because you got to go grow up and be an adult again. So you know what I mean?
It's always hard to watch that for some of these guys.
What makes it a heartbreaking loss for Colorado State is because they hit a 3 to go up by 1 with 6 seconds left.
Oh wow!
And then Maryland went back, called a timeout, and drew up a play,
and hit it.
The rest, it's history, just like that. I mean, that's a heartbreaker right there. You've done all you could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, we had the discussion about, for some of these guys, like, this is it. Like, it's over with. There is no more basketball, not even EuroLeague. It's just, figure out, what type of degree I have, making sure that it's worth something, or maybe be a coach or something like that. I don't know.
That's a good point.
So
I remember that, though. I remember when I played my last game, I knew that I wasn't going to play in college, too small to be a forward or anything, but didn't handle the ball well enough. So it was just kind of like, there was a finality in it that it was like, man, this was a good run and I had a lot of fun. Yeah. But that's also what led me to coaching, because it was like, I'm not ready for this to be over. So and hands down, in my own opinion, I'm a far better coach than I was a player. So, and it keeps you connected to the game. So it was a good run. But who surprised you guys in the tournament so far? Anybody?
Again, that's the thing. To me, there hasn't been many other than McNeese. But again, it's one of those deals where as soon as that storyline is building, they exit the building. You know what I mean? There hasn't been a surprise team that's gone deep. You can't. Like, maybe now as we speak, maybe New Mexico has a chance to be that team at the 10th seed. But the 10th seed don't make it. It's not a small school, so it doesn't make for that darling story that captivates the nation. So that's we might be lacking for that this year.
Maybe.
I thought Drake had a chance, but no.
I will say
number ones in the Final Four.
This feels like one of those years where you can at least pencil in the number ones for the Final Four. I say pencil in because it's the tournament; anything can happen.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be I think this is going to be one of the best Final Fours we've seen. I mean, in a while. Okay. I mean, this is going to be a tough one because we could say, I know you're going to say, oh, Duke, but man,
I mean, we got a close one today. I don't know if listen, I mean, not in terms of score, But Cooper Flag, we thought he was out with that eye jam. I was like, oh, man, it didn't look good. We were looking a little lax in that first half. Stuff wasn't falling for us. I thought his eye might affect him. We weren't, it was kind of a heartstring game only because playing against one of your former players and Jeremy Roach at Baylor, who spent 4 years at Duke, transferred to Baylor for his 5th year. So there was that. You hate to see him go out the way he did, but, it's got to happen for us to advance. It really is. It's survive and advance. That's really what it is. Survive and advance, win or go home. That's the game.
Yeah.
But, I think we're poised to do. Yeah, listen, depending on how that Oregon-Arizona game shakes out, which I think we can beat both of those teams. But, of course, that's my optimism as a Duke fan. But
I think, to me, if there was any game that was disappointing or I just expected more, St. John's losing. I thought that would have been a better game. I really thought that. I thought St. John's should have come out on top, and that was the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they just could not grab a hold. Nothing was falling for them. They couldn't buy a bucket that game. And that's the thing about the tournament. Like, there's only one game. You better get all that stuff out the way during the season, because we only got one time to shine, and they didn't. I mean, it didn't happen. So
I think depending on teams, like, for example, if you don't know, I'm Tar Heels all the way through, but some of those issues that you find during the regular season will come back and bite you in the tournament, and it's exactly what our season has been. It's been disappointing. A lot of controversy about the Tar Heels getting in the first place, and then they go up against San Diego State and absolutely mop them. But it was good shooting. It was, timing was everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the next game, you get down over 20 points and you fight back, get to within 2. But the problem with that is you are always going to use way too much energy just to get back in the fight. If they had that kind of fight in the first half, that could be a different outcome. But, that's the tournament. That's the game that there is to be played. But the other big thing about that is just the lack of ACC representation. I can't remember a year where we've had so little. It used to be
very few teams.
Carolina, Duke. You could throw Wake Forest in there. You could throw Florida State in that. Like, there were so many teams in that ACC where it was like, it's going to be a dogfight, and we're going to have that representation, and they're going to go far because they've been beating each other up all year. So when they get to some of these other teams, it was like, whatever. Those days feel like they're slipping away from us, and you might just have Duke sitting atop for a little while. I know Carolina has a top 8 or 10 in terms of class next year. Duke is right up there at the top of that class, but I don't know, man. It's getting interesting because we've always known ACC for basketball. So
ACC, Big Ten, Big East have been. I mean, other than Kentucky, like, the SEC hasn't had much representation, and I was hoping it'd stay that way. And a weird turn of events, I was rooting for your Tar Heels to pull it off because of that very reason. Like, I wanted some ACC teams to stick around. I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, you look forward to the day UNC can be our dance partner in either the Final Four championship or, hell, even in an Elite Eight matchup. That would have been fun, too. But I'm just like,
for sure.
Other than like being anti-UNC, which I'll rock with them when it comes to an SEC team. Like, I just can't stand. I don't know what it is, why I have a bias against the SEC. I do not like them. I think their place is in football. I don't want to see them become dominant in basketball. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's a fair play.
You know what I mean? But I can't get mad at them because they've spent the resources to build their programs to be where they are.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, the other conferences need to compete or either fall in line. It's get down or lay down season at this point. But yeah, when it comes to SEC, I want to see them all take an exit. But it's just not happening that way. And as it stands, at the Sweet 16, they'll probably have a quarter of the field representing the SEC. And that's not a good feel. I don't like that. Where are the Big East teams? Where are the ACCs? Where are the Big Ten, the Big Tens in terms of competing? Because you see it happening. And if you don't get in front of it now, you'll be looking at them taking over all the major sports.
And that's what all the talk is. Should the ACC and Big East combine?
Yeah, make a super conference. I already
can't beat them.
Duke in the Garden, the Tar Heels in the Garden. You know what I mean? Where you're now bringing some powerhouse historical teams together to kind of more like Avengers Unite. So I think that's something that
that's
they
interesting.
have to look into.
That'd be almost unfair.
Imagine the conference championship. You got the ACC and the Big East now playing in the Garden for the conference championship. And I would want to go check that out. I got to get tickets to that championship series.
Well, because and all this is due to because North Carolina making it in. Not to get on your team, Chris, but North Carolina getting in and not winning. They didn't win their
I mean,
championship.
they blew that first one out, yeah. But
well, we thought that was like it was imperative that they win. Like they're not getting in unless they win the championship, the ACC and they didn't do it. So when they got picked, it was just like a lot of people felt like,
I didn't think they were going to get in.
I certainly didn't. I ain't gonna lie to you.
All accounts, the majority didn't think that.
Either way.
And I think that
lost that game. I kind of conceded that, yeah, you guys have not had a year worthy of competing. And it's happened before. And the last time it happened and we got to the NIT tournament, we didn't even do that. We were just like, no, we're not going to play. So,
right.
And this loss was really kind of a microcosm of their season. Like that's what it's been. Like getting down, rallying back, but not having enough gas to finish the job. And that's what that game was. And it was frustrating to see because, I mean, the baskets, the buckets they missed around the basket.
Oh, yeah. But that's taking up so much energy on the defense.
That's true. Yeah.
Just to claw and fight your way back in. The other thing you got to realize is you could have had a guy like a Caleb Love who was playing at Arizona who walked out the door. So since they beat Duke, Coach K's last year, make it to the championship, you've seen a steady decline, but you've also haven't seen that big man anchoring. There was no replacement for Armando Bacot, which is a North Carolina staple. If any school in the country has always had a big man in the middle or two or three, it's been the Tar Heels.
Oh, I've always had
They really didn't have that. Yeah. So I'm not shocked, and they're either going to need to reinvent themselves or Coach Davis is going to find himself on the outs somewhere.
Is that
wishing he had because
are we saying that he's an issue? Are we saying that his recruiting?
It's too early to say right now. I wouldn't do that to him this early, even as a Duke fan. I'm like, I'm not willing to.
After his first year, and I mean, he from a basketball mind standpoint, you got to think he has something sitting there on that bench for that many years, along guys like Roy Williams, but. At the same time, my understanding was he was the main recruiter. He was the guy going into living rooms and getting some of these kids to come. At the head coach, you're not always able to do that. So is it a matter of his staff? Is it a matter of the fact that they're not having the type of success that is making this a little bit harder for them? You know what I mean? Because Duke is a well-oiled machine. One thing I give Coach K credit for is there was no issue about who was going to succeed him. He said it. This is who it's going to be. It wasn't like it was even a school thing. It was like, no, this is the house that I built. This is my replacement. As soon as he got in, their recruiting class didn't drop off at all. It might have got better a couple of them years, actually. It was like, you got fresh blood, and they really adopted to that. And so what I think you're starting to see is where these two might start to separate, where Carolina's been on a downhill. They got the younger guards, like the Elliot Cadeau, who comes in, plays with an RJ Davis. But now who's going to be taking over that team? And if you don't have those people lined up, and we're talking Carolina Duke because those are our teams. But if you look at the landscape of college basketball in general, the transfer portal, all of these different things that you have to deal with now, it is going to change how these teams recruit and how successful they are. So you might need to see more mergers in order to keep things alive.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I say, go ahead, Ray.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, you got the story. You have the Jeremy Roaches, 4-year Duke player, going to go finish his collegiate career over at Baylor, and these kids are moving around like crazy. I mean, I'm at the point like, are they gonna start introducing trades in college? I don't even know. Like, it's looking like it's going off the rails at this point. This transfer portal is becoming a bit of a problem now. Like, you can't give. I understand player movement, player empowerment, all that stuff is great on the collegiate and professional levels, but you got to reel it in some because it's getting to the point now where, guys are disgruntled and disillusioned, and without trying to work it out and figure, because to me, I think as an athlete especially, there is something to like that hero's challenge. Like, you need to go through some adversity a little bit. Like, it can't work out your way, and you decide like, this ain't the place for me because I'm not getting the time I was promised, or the last coach. I mean, and I there are certain circumstances where, like, you were recruited by X coach, he leaves, he was the reason for you going to that school. I get that completely.
That makes sense.
You committed to that coach in his program. He ain't there. You got to go too. I completely understand that. But this disillusionment with your playing time, and it's like, you might want to look at yourself. Unless it really is a political issue, it's something personal with you and the coach, that stuff can be remedied. So you just ship because you're not getting your way. I'm not a big fan of that. But that has changed the landscape of college basketball. And you got the NIL, obviously, which is another monkey wrench in the program. When you can go out there, listen, now you can flat out just say, I'm going to the highest bidder. It is what it is. Whoever got that money gets my services. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is too.
Think about it. That's why, the guys, some of the coaches who pretty much, let's be honest, we knew what they were doing, like the Rick Pitino's and guys like that. They benefited from that before it happened. They were the winners of it. They were kind of, toting that fine line and really they were painting outside the lines at some point. That's why he kept getting in trouble. But it's working now it's so wide open. I think that was the problem was coaches were changing because they were taking offers. Let's say they were at let's just say for the sake of mid-major school, wasn't even the big school, but you recruited all these guys, and here comes one of the top schools in ACC school, like, hey, we would love your services. Let's how about you come over there? He's like, yeah, I'm gone. He's going to give you that spiel, and some of these guys may have had like two different coaches in the last in their collegiate career, and that really messes you up. The continuity of the team. There's things that happen that a lot of players they got fed up with. Remember, that was the issue in college football, because that carousel of coaches that was going around, it was like, come on now I got to stay here, deal with a rebuilding process, an unproven coach that has a different philosophy of of offense and defense, things like that. So I think this just becomes along with it, because Rick Pitino, his team, he had an interview where he was like, the portal's working to his advantage because now we can get guys that are seasoned. He's snatching guys up that already, been in college for a year or two, and he's building his team with some seasoned roughnecks. And that's where it can work. And I think that guys like, the Duke, the former Duke and former UNC coach, I think they kind of knew, like, this is a new landscape. I don't know if I'm up for it. You know what I mean? Because the continuity, think about it. A top guy, let's say he's not liking the coach, like you said, Henri, has nothing to do with, he's getting his playing time. I just don't like the coach's philosophy. And, these are different kids nowadays. These young gentlemen that are coming on, they have a different mindset. They're like, yeah, I'll just go elsewhere. And
yeah,
or like you said, the highest bidder. Do you really want to deal with that old school value coach? Do you want to deal with that type of child, that type of young adult, and you can't reach them? There's a lot that's going on. And I just believe that sometimes it's better to get out on top than it is to, stay there. And I don't know, like Hubie, I mean, not Hubie, but like Hubert Davis, I don't know. I haven't heard much about him, but that's your guy. I don't know if he's more tapped in, shall we say, with this younger generation. And maybe that's part of the issue, that's because you're going to see that. I think, I know it's a different sport, but the guys like a Coach Prime and all that, I think they're very well equipped to deal with this generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go in there and even still to fight through the whole, because like you said, it's going to be somebody that comes to them like, what you got? Empty your pockets. Right. You want me to come empty your pockets. And that is something that all it's going to take is for some of the top coaches to allow that. And now it'll be like a carousel effect. Everybody will start doing it. So I think they have to fight that. As a coach, you got to keep that integrity. It's not just for your team, but for the collegiate sports period. You have to keep that integrity. Like, we're not going to be punked into give it, to recruiting you because you saying I want
too late though, Bear. If you look at I do, and I'll tell you why. If you look at when Coach K, well, first Roy Williams, I woke up one day, was getting dressed for work, and he was just like breaking news. Roy Williams retires, and it was like, where did that come from?
He got tired.
That came out of left. There was no talk about him being disgruntled. There was nothing about, hey, I'm getting up there in age, which they all are, but they're doing what they love. So not that hard to stick on longer than you would your typical job. But I think what we started to see was all of them started to realize previously the power that they held was, we're going to get you an education. We all knew, okay, these kids ain't staying for a year, so let's call it what it is. You get to wear this jersey for 6 months.
Yeah, right. For a semester. It's not even a whole college year.
No, you're not even staying the whole college year because you're going to the league. But what they had was just the selling power of that. Look at our alumni. Look who's come through this program and what they've gone on to do. When you take that away and now it becomes the money, which I think I think we've gone from two extremes to where the colleges only benefited financially, and that was wrong. I think now the pendulum has swung so far to where it's gotten out of control to where you can, because what people don't understand is the right program for the right player means more than anything, right? You think about it realistically, think about somebody like Kyrie. Did you really know Kyrie could get off like that before he got to the league?
No.
Did you feel like you knew that Kyrie?
No, I hadn't seen enough of him in college. I'll be honest. Yeah, as a Duke fan, I didn't see quite enough of him.
He was in a very structured program by an elite head coach who rules his world how he wants to see it. But when he got that freedom, we saw something where it was like, yeah, what was this? If we saw this guy, what could they have done, right? So you had these coaches, and that's where the power lied, and these coaches being like, I am what you're coming to. Yes, you're coming to school, but you're coming for me. There's few of those guys who I feel like are a little ahead of their time, and even though they're older, so like a Calipari recognized very quickly, hey, you only gonna be here a few months. I just need to get as many of y'all in here as for as these few months as I can get. And I understand. I'm running the factory. I'm gonna sell you on what I need to. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get, hey, AD, you want to come back? Guess what? You can play point guard. I'm gonna tell you whatever you need to hear, and I'm just gonna benefit because we're going to be the best version of us that we can be while you're here.
Yeah.
He understood that. That's something where I think Roy and Coach K were kind of like, Coach K is a values guy. Roy, even to that point to where I think they just recognize this new landscape doesn't fit what I came into this for. So it's going to be hard for me to sell and have a kid tell me, yeah, the history, blue blood, you guys have won it, but what are you going to pay me? They recognize super early, that's just not me, and I'm not going to deal with that. So I think why I say we're kind of at a loss, you see kids who transferred all this year, right? And now they're coming, and some of those kids actually have buyer's remorse where it's like, I got paid, but I missed my team. I was a better fit where I was.
Yeah.
That coach actually poured into me and cared about me as the person, where I became a paid talent. And I think that's where it's going to get harder in college basketball because of the way things are now with NIL and just the ability to freely move.
Yeah.
And there's a lack of accountability now. If I don't like something, I get to leave. That's not realistic. That's not how life works.
Right.
But we've made that the way that these kids are now coming up. So, Bear, when you talk about a different kid, we've kind of cultivated a kid that can't function in regular society because that's just not how it works. I don't like it. I'm taking my ball and leave. I don't like my boss. I quit. Okay, cool.
Right.
Could you do that? Yes. Does that mean the next job's going to be better? Oh,
no.
And we're getting away from some of that. What do you think?
And the problem, like you mentioned earlier, like these kids at that age do not see the value in a coach pouring into you because the likelihood of you going pro or going anywhere helps. Some of y'all ain't going to be G League standouts. Like, let's just keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying? Keep it a full bundle, if you will. Like, some of y'all ain't got no real future outside of college. The best thing you can do is get your education if that matters to you. But guys like Calipari kind of revolutionized the game in a sense in that. And I can't even imagine Calipari going into anybody's living room telling that these kids' parents, he's promising them an education. Maybe that was his initial sales pitch. When he realized that he became a factory of talent, his thing, he would tell players, if you stay that first year, you're doing it for you. This is for you to get NBA to look at you, to attract that attention, raise your stock, go play at the next level. If you have that talent, right? If you stay any longer, now you're doing it for me. And he was honest and forthright about that. Like, anything after that, after year one, this is helping me out. This is really not to your benefit anymore. Especially if you've already reached the highest value you'd likely to get in your draft class, you come back to help me win. I appreciate it, but it's not doing much for your stock. But you're right. It like I mentioned earlier, it does create a problem in that you can fire. This is the only world where you can fire your boss and get a new one. You know what I mean? Like if you have the talent, you can fire your boss and land another job. The real world don't work like that. And it is important that these kids understand the value of somebody pouring into you and caring for you outside of your parents and your legal guardians who are pretty much obligated to do so. Or, it's not necessarily an obligation. You don't have to love and care for your kids. You would hope that's a part of the deal for most parents and kid dynamics, but that ain't always the case, unfortunately. But if you do get somebody to point who cares for you outside of your parents, that's even better. You know what I mean? But you can't see that at 18, 19, 20 years old. When you can have your way, you can have it like Burger King. You can go wherever you want to and get it how you want to. You become a star. You can get some NIL money. You can get some females. You can get whatever you want out the deal. Especially if again, you don't have to really stand a chance at playing at the next level. So I don't know, man. The landscape has changed dramatically, and in a lot of ways, I hate to say it, it's almost for the worse because you can't unring that bell now. Now that the players have this kind of empowerment, you can't take it back from them. You can't take the money. And I'm happy, again, that they're getting somewhat of a shit. Well, they're getting more than a fair shake now because at the time, prior to the NIL, prior to the player portal and player movement, the NCAA was, one, thoroughly corrupt. Thoroughly corrupt. Let's start there.
Call it what it is, yeah.
And it was exploitative. And it was half a step from real rap, some slavery.
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't by force, but you have a labor market that cannot share in the revenue. That gets no money from it. You get it's a free labor source, right? To the tune of billions of dollars. You ain't got to turn not nan red cent over to them. They got to figure out on their own. Now they can get a little bit. They can get a share of it, but it probably is still not a fair enough share. But the problem is the whole player portal deal and that player movement element of it kind of makes it hard for you to like really root for the players now. Like it's in a weird place, man.
That's to my point, though, that I think that when you saw it happening when the coaches were just hopping around because they were chasing, quote unquote, chasing the bag, going to a bigger college, bigger money, bigger opportunity because, they're better funded, have a bigger, shall I say, a bigger support of the boosters behind them to get the top kid. I think that it was good. I mean, I think it's like anything, I think it's almost like the internet. We just open it up before we put restrictions and what we should do. So I just think that at the end of the day, they need to tighten it up, especially if we're talking about possibly making like a super, SEC, ACC, like before they do that, because you think about the revenue sharing and the money and the contracts that have come from that. I think they need to get this kind of thing buttoned down. I don't know if it's you have to lessen it down, like you have to have a real reason your coach is leaving, so that with the coach leaving, you know what I mean. So things like that. But I think that if they can tighten it up, we'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. I understand it's necessary.
If you found a way to. The hard part is the NIL because it really follows the player. But if there was something to be built into NIL deals that were like, hey, you were a player here at this time, and if you leave that school, a percentage of that money goes to the school. I think that would, not that the school needs it, but it would be a way to regulate and make guys think about jumping twice. But the hard part is, I mean, to be honest, yes, there's a lot of good coaches out there. But what parents and players don't understand is not every program fits every player. And so some of these kids who are moving for legit reasons where I'm buried on the bench, not being able to play, not being seen, and my years are going by. And we know I have a small window. Other guys, it's just the money. When you walk in with the show me the, okay, who's going to pay me the most money? Okay, cool. What's the return on my investment in paying this money if you jump up and decide, because I'm coaching you tough, now you
That's
jump
more
up
than
and
a
go
fair
here
point.
too, but now we're pouring in all this money. So I think if there's a way to put some regulations in that, then you would start to see guys really figure out like, okay, yeah, it's more money here, but if I don't stay this year, 50% of that goes back, then it's like, well, why did I really jump? You know what I mean? Now
you can't
really
get your maximum if you don't stay. Okay.
Correct.
I get what you're saying. That's a hell of a deal.
Even like a tier system.
Yeah.
Even if it's a tier, like, hey, you stayed, we paid you for X amount of years or this time and you didn't hit that time frame. So now some of that money falls off the books. Maybe. But again, that seems like a work in progress that's going to take a while.
Oh, trust me. But if it amounts to the NCAA and the administrators and the power structure being able to reel it back and take some of that money and power, they're going to figure it out. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that one.
Yeah. That new rule will be out with the champion being announced.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, who do you guys think will win at this point?
I hope, but I hope it's Duke. But if not, the team I won't say fell in love with, but I've gotten an affection for them. Them Houston Cougars. I've always liked that program and Kelvin Sampson and what he's built over there. I like that team and the kind of players that he recruits. These aren't the most talented. He's not recruiting, your blue chip, your top 50 ESPN ranked high school kids. He's not getting the top recruiting classes. He might get a couple diamonds in the rough, but he really got to go out there and check. He's looking under every rock to find talent, but he's finding guys with heart. He's got, a few more upperclassmen. And those teams, again, they're going to fare the best. And that's just the way it goes. I don't give a damn how talented, how great your freshman is, how phenomenal he is. If you don't have some guys that can anchor you with some real experience, it don't really amount to nothing. But I like that Houston team. I hope they can pull it off. But you know me, at this point, my whole thing is, as long as it's not the SEC, I don't care who does it. Y'all do y'all thing.
Well, I mean, it may get your feelings hurt. I don't know to tell you, player.
Why
what are you thinking, Bear?
I just say that I just have a problem overall with the sports period, how they just implement new rules without thinking about every angle. And maybe that's the whole point, because it to allow the bending and, the tampering of the rules to work out. I think they allowed that to happen. That was the whole point. Because if they want to, they could have kept it like ironclad, where there were only, certain, circumstances which allow you to transfer. They could have made it that way. And I think people would have been perfectly fine. But the fact that it didn't, it's telling me that the NCAA, they want certain things to happen. They don't want to handcuff these programs and let you figure it out, kind of keep it to where whatever recipe and sauce you're doing, to keep your stuff rolling, as long as it can look decent enough where we can justify it, we good. And that's where it is, But,
Well, we know you don't have a program, Robert. We know that's not your thing. You don't have a team. Who you got, though? You got to give us somebody you think has a good chance.
Won't be no. Listen, I think Florida's going to win it.
You got Florida
earlier.
It's not a bad pick.
I got Florida. I think they're built, as a complete team. I think Florida's. If it would shock me, I mean, they're going to make. Listen, they're going to be in the Final Four, and they're going to be a hard out. But if they make it, yeah, I think Florida's going to go ahead and they're going to cut that net. I'm sorry, man. My bad, man. I mean, I know you want me to say, dude.
I'm being realistic about it. Yeah.
In one bracket, I think I quickly filled out two. Yeah. One I had Auburn, one I had Florida, and of those, if I had to pick, I think one, it will be one of those top teams. Like I see a number one seed. It wouldn't surprise me if any one of them took it, but I'm leaning closer to Florida and Duke. Yeah.
Ooh, at Florida does not sound bad, but I will say, because I filled out about 5 different brackets, and in one of them, I had Maryland as a shocker. It's not much of a shocker at the 4 seed, but that'd be a nice little storyline. Maryland's kind of, Florida, obviously they've reached the mountaintop too. They were the last back-to-back champion, and prior to UConn, they were the last back-to-back champion with that Joakim Noah team. I actually like that team. Al Horford, Corey Brewer. They had my guys on that squad. Don't get me wrong. They were stacked.
Some height on that squad, boy, and they were rough.
And they had some dogs. That's what they.
And they stayed back to make sure that they could run it back. Like that was a different time. Now these guys, I get it. You think the grass is greener, and people don't understand that the grass is green where you water it. But you think you got a chance at the NBA, so you jump ship and you find out that you might get a 2-year run at the most, but. Yeah, it was a different time, man. But let's fingers crossed for them Blue Devils.
Al Horford's still out here pulling.
I'll just say it.
It's crazy.
Dark horse, Michigan State. Dark horse, Michigan State. That's my dark horse.
Michigan State? A 2 seed ain't much of a dark horse, but go ahead. Go off, though.
No. But I just think that, come on now, they're a distant 2 in comparison to those top 1 seeds. I hear
what you're saying.
But I think,
I hear what you're saying. There is a separation in talent.
Yeah.
Damn, don't do me like that, man.
I'm just saying. But that's college basketball, and that's how it's shaking out for right now. But from the college ranks to the pros, we got to get to it. We got to talk about our Lakers, y'all Lakers.
I got to do it.
Kind of my Lakers by proxy, but we got to touch on the Lakers. Yeah, right. we got to go there.
Motel 6A, we'll leave the light on for you.
Hey, no doubt.
Right. Oh man,
Lakers are back on another little 2-game skid. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Yeah. As you well know, they got the doors blown off of them by the lowly Chicago Bulls. And I said lowly because that team ain't got no business beating nobody and putting up 145 points on that team in the NBA. Yeah. Prior to that, the Lakers.
My boy Kobe White. Shout out Kobe White.
Oh, Kobe White. Oh, legitimate talent.
Yeah, he did his thing, but Jesus.
Yeah, I've had a love for Playboy since the UNC. I got to give it to him. I thought he was, kind of like the second coming of Ty Lawson with more refined skill set. But I mean, they got some players there, but not enough to be putting up 145 on the Lakers that put, you know, LeBron and Luka on the floor. I want to say Kobe had what, 36?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, shit. Who else? What's the other cat? Beltzili. I can never pronounce his name.
Right.
Shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened.
And prior to that, obviously the loss to the Milwaukee Bucks. That's kind of expected. Anybody tripping off that one? Like, you put Giannis in the lineup, even without Dame, they got enough to beat that Laker team. And and that was a depleted Laker team in the first place. It wasn't like they no Austin Reeves, no LeBron, no Luka, no. Pretty much the starting lineup was out of action for that game. So that was to be expected. The Chicago loss kind of stings some because that's a game you definitely should have pulled off. There's really no excuse for not at least making it closer. So given that, and prior to that, those 3 wins they strung together, and a good, and I'm gonna give it to them, a good quality win over Denver, even without Jokic in the lineup.
Yeah,
that Denver team is still good enough to be competitive, if not win that game. Lakers happened to pull it out, so they rode a little 3-game high, came back down to that little 2-game skid. What do you guys make of the Laker team going into this last final 15 games for the playoff starts? Have you any surprises, any revelations, anything we've seen in the last 2 games that you're concerned about?
I mean, with the team being disjointed and broken and kind of busted up, not really. Even with them coming back last night and getting, their key guys back, you can just tell like that takes time, energy, and effort to get fully healed, and they're still learning each other. So it's kind of like while I want to be, in the back of your head, you're always like, we really need to tighten up. At this point, I think if they're healthy more than anything, Jackson Hayes has filled the shoes that he needed to. I think that's the biggest surprise for me this year because I know that was the big thing they needed, but it's also a testament to Luka because Luka just does, for him to be the scorer he is, he really does pass the ball when he needs to and gets other people involved, which is the measure of a great player. You can be good on your own every game. When you can elevate somebody else, that's really when you get into the great. So that I'm actually looking forward to, but I'm not too overly concerned. I think the biggest thing is if they all get back healthy. Because think about it, when's the last time we've seen all of them together? We're talking about Rui, Bron, Austin, Luka, Jackson Hayes, Vandal, like all of those guys on the floor at the same time. If we can get to that point where they're healthy, contributing, now that we have a new, Gabe Vincent's turned the page and is now contributing, I think it's going to be an exciting playoff to watch. What about you, Bear?
I think the same thing, but I think that we need, I believe, we have a couple two-up games before we got to get to the real deals. Like we're gonna face, we're talking about Golden State towards the end of the season. We got OKC twice. We got the Rockets. Even the Pacers is a good team now. So there's, and we still have the Grizzlies. Listen, I think this is the best
There's
time.
No easy outs.
No, there isn't. But I think this
you got a nice little easier road the next 2 games, and they should be able to get back on Chicago on the 27th.
Those are games that we need to get back on track with. Those are the games you need to get back defensively, to get back to the groove that we were doing, that we had. But see, the addition of it's a few guys that we got to kind of work back into the fold. They, and that Hachimura's been going, how long? And you were just getting him back. Yeah. So we got to work him into the fold. He has to kind of get his footing. I'm not really concerned about everybody else, honestly. I'm not concerned about, LeBron and Luka and everybody else that's getting back on, because they didn't miss, an extensive amount of time compared to like Hachimura. You know what I mean? And I think LeBron, you listen, we saw the pictures. We saw the video footage. LeBron, he's out, but he's warming up, dunking, hopping up at his son's at his championship game. We clearly, it was nowhere near as bad as we thought it was, and he knew it. I think that those are going to be some tester games, that's going to tell me, because those are going to be playoff atmosphere games. Those two OKC, and I don't think they're going to sit there, guys. I think they may set him after maybe the first one, maybe after the first game.
Maybe after the first one.
But then again,
I think you played the psychological game there. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but that first game, no doubt they're going to, because there's no need to. At that, I think after the second game, the Lakers only got like 4 more games. I think that's their last. I think we only have like 3 more games after that second. So I don't expect them to go ahead and play them, but we still got We still got the Rockets that we're gonna, second to last game. That Warriors game. These are gonna be test games that are really gonna show like if we're that team, because we need to go into the team into the playoffs not leaking and reeling and lunging, and we need to go in there full force and be at like we have to be playoff ready already because we don't know, and we have to win because we don't want to drop down too far. Every game is crucial.
That's
2 through
true.
6 is so tight that I mean, you look at it. We went on a short skid and we were down to like 4 or 6 just that fast, and we still have teams that are winning. Golden State, there's a man. I'm telling you, I think this is going to be an exciting playoff, but I think the Lakers are up for the task. I think that LeBron James being away was a great thing because it allowed other players to flourish, even without
Agreed.
Luka.
Agreed.
Because you have to have, guys step up. That's what the playoff is about. That
Yeah.
usual basketball, like, it was for the season, but I need you to step up in places because we know in a 7-game series, you're going to make adjustments as a coach. So there's certain things that you're going to take away during the course of that series, and other guys are going to be left open, and they're going to test you. Like, well, we'll see. And I think that's the one key to the Lakers that I want to say in the last couple years I was worried about. But this year, because I saw the progression of, some of our players, really a lot of our players progressed this year. And it was a sight to see because I think that's what's necessary to make a deep push. And that OKC game, I'll say this, and maybe it's just me being a Laker fan. If we can win that game, I think that's going to put some mental pressure on OKC. If we beat them, I think that's a psychological issue. And I think that's going to be in our favor going into the postseason. Think about this: if we can turn it out, beat Golden State, beat OKC, beat the Grizzlies and the Rockets. Oh man, I'm telling you right now, I think it'll be a psychological thing where we're putting everybody on notice. Like the Lakers are in playoff form, ready to make a deep run, and I think it's going to give us the confidence that we need in order to be successful. Because like I said, OKC, obviously, I know you say Denver, but for some reason, I just don't have that feeling of that Denver team in previous years where we just couldn't get past them.
You feel like that, huh? You ain't got no fear of the Denver Nuggets, huh?
I don't. I mean,
I
listen,
think that's the general consensus, though. I agree.
Really?
I agree that I really do think when you look at it, and it's only because as well as they have been playing, they have not done enough in the playoffs to where people are like, you listen to a lot of folks talking, it's like, OKC is going to be hard out. Okay. But when it comes to the Lakers, it's like, and what we do need to keep in mind, though, is that the Lakers don't have the dominant big that AD was, because AD was a big part of giving Chet and some of those other guys an issue. So maybe that is an underslept point. But yeah, I agree. Just in talking with Laker fans, most people do not fear OKC. And they got more than enough talent to be feared. I mean, as far ahead as they are in the standings, you would think, yeah, nobody wants to. I mean, you definitely don't want to be in the first round playing OKC. You know what I mean? You want to get on the other side of that bracket you don't want to see them until you get to the finals. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. What's your thoughts?
About?
Well, let me quickly amend the point I had earlier. The Lakers actually have 12 games remaining on their schedule. And you guys went through some of the top teams in the West they faced, but let me throw this at you too. The Lakers currently sitting in 4th, only a game behind the Denver Nuggets at 3rd, and on their heels are the Grizzlies. Grizzlies a half a game behind them. Let me ask you guys this, because you guys, okay, I'm with you, Chris. The Thunder, for some reason, despite their record, I'm not shook in the least bit. If I'm from a Laker fan, right? I'm just not worried about them. I don't think they figured it out as of yet. I think if you can figure out a way to kind of frustrate Shea and take him out of the series, it's pretty much done for. Ain't nobody. I like Jalen Williams, first-time All-Star. I think he's got a bright future, but I'm not about to put that kind of weight on that young brother. Like, I don't think he's quite ready to take over them reins in the absence of a Shea Alexander and step up and really replace him in terms of like that production.
Yeah.
Quietly, it's funny. If I'm looking at the Lakers, right? The teams ahead of the Lakers don't scare me, other than maybe the Nuggets. Like I think the Nuggets are. I don't know. I'm not willing. The Nuggets are like the Warriors to me now. I'm not willing
to write them off.
I cannot do it. I can't. This is a team this is a championship team. You can say what you want about their championship. It was legit. And as long as you got Jokic on the court, healthy, it's going to be a hard out. I'm more worried about the teams in the rear view, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the Clippers. And you can say what you want. The Clippers are on a 5-game winning streak. They've been looking impressive, but for all we say about the Clippers and that franchise and their history and that organization and their bad luck, we damn near did a whole segment in the show on them.
Yeah.
If this was ever a time for them to put it together, it's seeming like this might be the perfect storm for them this year. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not about to sit up here and give anybody that kind of false hope. Clipper fans, if you're listening, don't take it like that. It ain't really. I'm not giving them no big. This ain't no big ups like that. Trust me when I tell you that. But I'm just saying they are in the rear view, and they creeping up. Them and the Warriors and the Grizzlies are right on the Lakers' heels, and anything can happen in the next 12 games or so. And yeah, we talking about that because I'm looking at the 1 through 6, right? The play-in, it might get a little mickey and sticky. I don't know how that's going to work out. But that 1 through 6, Lakers got the Grizzlies and the Warriors directly behind them. Those are teams that scare me if I'm the Lakers.
Right.
Little room for error.
Very little.
You know, the funny thing is at the top, one of those teams that I do have some slight, maybe not as much now with Luka, but Houston's youth and their coach specifically has given us problems in the past where it's not so much just the fact that they're young, but it's how they scheme with their youth that has been a problem for us in games where it's like, we've had to really work. And it's in a weird way, I'd be a little more concerned about that than OKC, which sounds crazy. But you bring up a good point because the one thing about veteran teams, and it's what you always see, and it's exactly why we don't have that faith in OKC per se, is that they are proven. Right? Who wants to go up against Steph? A motivated Steph knowing that, hey, these days behind me are way less than the ones in front of me. So if I got this much left to get it and me and Jimmy gonna do this, that's a dangerous combination. He comes back and there isn't anything championship wise that he hasn't accomplished.
Right.
You know, so I think that would be concerning. The Clippers, yes, because they're playing good basketball, because Ty Lue is very consistent. The one thing I've always given him credit for is having a mind and an ability to understand his talent and to keep them relevant. There hasn't been a time in recent years where we have just been able to say, Clippers are old, they're trash, they fall off, they disappoint, but at least they're in a place now where they actually disappoint. You know what I mean? Like before, it was a disappointment for them to be like, oh, I thought this was the year they were going to. Before, it was like you couldn't be disappointed if you weren't available or even in the conversation. So Ty has done a good job of keeping them relevant. And I think, to be honest, Kawhi Leonard is on his last leg. We've all known it. They've tried to hide it and mask it and everything. But to be honest, this is probably his last year. In my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if he's got another year or two left with a knee that just seems to keep deteriorating, and I just don't know how much more he can give. But
whatever it is, it's got to be a degenerative situation for his knee.
They don't. They do a good job of hiding.
They don't say it's degenerative. They never said it, but it's by all accounts, that's what it looks like. And and the way I see it is, I think the Lakers. This is going into it. Like I said, it's how the Lakers need to me, not necessarily dominate in the playoffs, but it's what they need to do. Like, I believe that we should be able to get through teams 5 games, maybe 6, but you can't let them linger because I think that affects LeBron James. We got to kind of hurry up and do away with teams. But when you think about it, like you said, Chris, I look at the Rockets and from a standpoint of, the coaching. Listen, he's a great coach. We understand the circumstance, what happened. I mean, I'm still think he got, a raw deal with Boston, but nonetheless,
that was his problem. He was getting in a raw deal, and that's how he got over here.
But that Houston, but you look at that team, they'll put up a fight. And that's one of those things where Lakers have to come out as a veteran team with that, kind of with that swagger, like, let's get it done. Because we understand the longer you let this linger. And yes, I don't want to see a Golden State because I know that's going to be a hard fought series. I know it will. And I wouldn't want that first round.
Somebody's going to get worn down.
Right.
And with that Houston comment, Bear, I think the one thing that I feel about Houston that gives them a slight edge is Houston is disrespectful. Like they are young and arrogant. Like, nigga, you old.
Yeah.
Like that is their energy.
Yeah.
Like they are very.
They got that YN energy, no doubt.
Had to come at them a couple of times. Like, hey, don't forget who I am. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, you played with Manute Bol, it feels like, you know what I mean? Like you played with
Yeah.
and that's the energy they give him. Like Pop
That's the
sit at.
coach.
Yeah.
That's the coach. Remember,
But
Boston had
exactly.
that
So to that
swagger
point,
before.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even he looked up on Brown like, what are we doing? Like
Oh, yeah.
you
We
good at
forget
all
about
this
that.
talk,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
ain't nothing moving. What are we?
Yeah.
So I think that's why when I look at them, I give them
Yeah.
a slight advantage because they really are disrespectful. Like your time is up,
Yeah, they got
and
that.
that is the way to play.
They got that YN energy, like in full
Yeah.
swing. They are not
Yeah.
playing about that. That's the difference.
get it
Like
up
the
out of
Thunder,
here. Right.
like OKC is young, but they don't have YN energy.
No,
They have
not at
that.
all.
They have the swag of a young man who's looking to transition into an older, respectable man. Where the Rockets is like, we ain't got no interest in that shit. We about to smoke. You know, we on some BS. It is what it is. Who want it with us?
OKC
Yeah.
is the new age suit with the
Right.
skinny
Well,
pants,
pretty
no
much,
shoes,
yeah.
no socks.
Because
Right above your ankles.
Yeah.
Is hey, I
Yeah.
got a half iron shirt
Yeah.
and some jeans.
Yeah, he want to be fly. Yeah, but he ain't reckless.
I ain't
with
wearing
it.
the leg. I'm not wearing the leg sleeve, the elbow sleeve.
Right,
When we
right,
getting grounded, no. But you
Yeah.
know that's the thing. I just think that it depends on where the Lakers place, because honestly, I mean, you look at it for the exception. I mean, honestly, the play-in, yeah, I don't know if would it be crazy if Dallas get in, because I think they're trying to bring back your boy AD, like to let him play, like for what? Like it makes no sense. Right.
You gave
To
up way
sniff
too
a
much
plan? No, it
to
ain't
have
worth
that flame out. You
But
know what
the
I mean?
problem is Phoenix is playing so bad that they're tied. Like it can easily
Oh
go
yeah.
where you know.
That's crazy,
I,
right?
Yeah.
man,
That
Dallas is
is
like,
crazy,
bro, I'm
man.
not even trying to do it,
Yeah.
bro. Please,
Yeah.
Phoenix can't get out their own way. That's
Yeah.
the problem. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that is wild though.
Like, bro, you couldn't win. Like we
Yeah.
have no one, and we still getting a couple games here and there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I look at
Ain't
it,
even
but I
trying,
think that
yeah.
the Clippers, we'll see, because do we believe that the Clippers, if they have to play and face Minnesota, they can beat them?
No, you know what? The Clippers impressed me only because considering Kawhi's condition, they figured out a way to still be in the hunt.
Yep.
And look pretty
And
good
they've got vets.
and they've got. I mean, listen,
It's the Norman Powell,
right?
it's the Zubac.
They figured a way
it's
out.
James
Yeah,
Harden being back in
with
that
what they
point
have,
guard
right?
spot like it was in
Yeah.
Houston. Like they maximize what they have, but they have a coach who
Yeah.
understands
Yeah.
what it takes. And even though they haven't taken that next step,
Yeah.
anytime Ty is involved, he's going to put his team in the best position
Exactly.
to win. So I'm with you on that. I wouldn't want to deal with that because eventually what's going to happen is it's just going to get to a point to where these Western Conference teams are softening each other up, and it'll be who's healthy enough to survive that first fight. You know what I mean? To move on to the second.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be interesting.
But
Definitely.
yeah, definitely. But real quick though, I want to throw this at y'all real quick. Quick question before we move on.
Yeah.
As it stands, again, Lakers just a half game ahead of the Grizzlies, right, in their rearview mirror. If it stays at this, Lakers 4, Grizzlies 5, because it doesn't matter what happens after that, they'll be locked in the top 6. That's your first round matchup. How do y'all feel about that? Like, what are the Lakers' chances if that is the case? If they can hold that position at 4 and 5, against Memphis.
I think man. I mean, you know, I don't want to say that because
call it for what you see.
Everybody,
worry about me.
I think I'll say this: depends on how we finish the season. If we finish it shaky, then it's good. That first round we're gonna have to fight, because I think if we set the tone, like I said, we win that OKC, not the game where they're probably gonna sit people. I want to beat them at full strength, because I think that's going to destroy their. Like I said, we understand who they got as their leader, but I don't know how mentally strong he is. I need to put everybody on notice. So if we can get there, I'm not afraid of Memphis. I mean, they're gonna put up a fight, but I think if we jump out on them early and break their backs early in the series, I think it'll be it. This isn't that Memphis Grizzlies that we played when I thought we had a chance when we still had AD. This isn't that Grizzlies team. They don't scare me like the previous years. I mean, they're a great team. I just don't look at them as like that's that team. Oh, don't get me wrong. We don't need to sleep on them. We don't need to sleep on any team, but I'm not looking at that team. Like you said, I agree with Chris. The only ones besides, obviously, really, you think about it more, Houston, they got a certain swagger. I don't think the Grizzlies have that type of swagger that really upsets anything that we're doing.
They're not YNs anymore. Yeah.
I'd say a 5.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they got one. He was playing YN,
Right.
you know, but
I
that's
mean,
a
with
whole
the
other.
energy like the
Yeah.
Rockets have, they don't have that anymore.
No,
That
they ain't got
youthful
that rough
YN
rider,
energy.
that
They don't have
roughneck
that.
energy.
You're right.
But
And
You're right.
the difference is we've seen Memphis self-destruct. We've seen what it looks like when Bron gets on a roll, and now he's looking over at them, and they are stuck, and they are kind of imploding on themselves. We've seen that happen before. So with a new facilitator like Luca, I think that just adds another level of frustration where you don't get that same, double double, triple double you got out of AD. You're still going to get those points because of the rolls to the baskets, which might get them in foul trouble and some other things. So when you start to line up and cancel players out, yeah, I think the Lakers still have a little bit more than them, and they're an older, wiser team. It's the I know when to use that energy. Where one of the things with Ja is that you still see to this day is if he's on the floor, he's on the floor. It's balls to the walls. It's a lack of refinement that he hasn't figured out yet, to where all energy ain't good energy if it's just out of control sometimes, to where you're actually doing more harm than help. Typically as a coach, I'm gonna tell you all energy equates to something good, but there we've seen specifically with him where that energy has taken the rest of his team out because he's doing so much. They're standing around. Triple J isn't involved. And now they're just kind of trying to fight back into a game, which makes them make more turnovers, more mistakes. So, yeah, I should. What Shannon say? Cookie butter, cookie lines, or cookie dough. Lakers in
right,
5.
right. Man, I mean, this is the best opportunity we have because when you got a young team like, OKC, they're not battle tested yet.
Yeah.
They're still not battle tested, but much like their predecessors, the past OKC teams, they weren't battle tested. Remember the Lakers were you able to junk out with Kobe? We got them, but once they got seasoned, it wasn't no more of that. I think you only got so many times, but I think like I said, I'm not worried. It won't surprise me if my team makes it out. I'm really
Yeah.
worried about how we line up against that Eastern Conference team. That I'm not going to mention them, but yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Busters and Green. We don't play that over here. This
Hey, look.
Laker gang for life. Let
You
me
mean the
just
defending
reiterate that.
champions? Hey, put some respect
No,
on
we don't
that.
play that. We don't play
Put some
that.
respect on it.
Don't
I know we
play
talk
that.
Lakers, but we are talking about the defending champions.
Sidebar. I'm
Come on
sorry,
now.
you guys, but I just had to say it. We went out one time. This brother we in LA now, y'all. This dude had a whole Celtic get up on with the hat. I just like, man, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I'm rocking
it
it
was so
faithfully.
disrespectful.
Oh, hold on.
It was so disrespectful. We in LA, baby. It's Lakers
Going
and
to
nothing.
grab it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You see, I should have said anything. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you started that one.
But on the same side, listen, because we getting there. Put that down. Put that BS down there. Because let's say this. I'm telling y'all right now.
Wow.
When we get to the championship,
Little
when we get to the finals,
O'Brien trophy out here.
Real
when
champion.
we get to the finals, brother, because we're gonna be
Real
there. I don't know if y'all gonna be there. Y'all got y'all one, but y'all ain't about legacy like us. We trying to win. So y'all got y'all one, but we about to get there. I'm claiming it now. You done started something. We gonna win it. Bron gonna get another one with the Lakers, man. He about to earn, you know what I'm saying, his jersey up in the rafters, and possibly if we play against your Busters, I think that may get him the statue. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I'm putting it out there.
Right.
I'm gonna put that out there since you want to.
Hey, I'm ready for a repeat, but
I
listen. I'm not about to sit up here and dismiss the Cavaliers and what they've done. So we got to get past that.
It's gonna be interesting.
It is.
I think with the trades that we've seen and everything so far towards the second half of this season, really saved the NBA. I mean, like with Luca coming out, like all of these small things, just kind of that was big. But
you're gonna have Chuck in your DMs with that, Chris. I would calm down. Yeah.
Man,
Chuck gonna come after you with that one. Yeah, I wouldn't.
No. Hey, Father Krispy Kreme, bring it. We can go there. But,
right.
It did because it gave an energy. If you think about what the conversations we had, it was why basketball was failing. Right? Why are we not engaged as long-term basketball lovers? Why is that not? So regardless of what he's saying, the proof is in the pudding because no matter where you go, the Lakers are a topic. So much so that he has to complain about it, where it's like, whether you like it or not, they're in everybody's mouth for a reason. So
I've said it before as a Celtic fan.
You're
when
right.
the Lakers are doing good, the NBA is doing good. That's a matter of fact, whether you like it or not. I may not always like it, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, not when the Celtics
Yeah,
are
man.
doing good. It's when the Lakers
Yep.
are doing good. Yeah. Yeah.
Very true.
Let's mention that. We'll see you there.
Very true.
Maybe.
Once we beat y'all to
Yeah,
20,
I mean,
then I'll switch sides.
okay. All right. There
I
it is.
think
So y'all heard it first here.
I
All
guess
right.
he'll
Well,
stay a Celtic fan then. I mean, hold it. Yeah.
Hey, race to 20.
got
We got to get there first.
there it
Whatever.
is. All right,
Whatever.
y'all. Last segment, new segment we're bringing on, Bear. So what I've discovered this place called Reddit. A little late, but you talk about finding some topics, some things on Reddit. So new segment called What Y'all Think. Just gonna ask the fellas a question that I happened to run across while scrolling on Reddit. Get a little insight. And this one has nothing to do with basketball. So this will be good. They have no clue what the question will be. This may end up being a weekly segment. So the question, what y'all think? What is something men want but never ask for? What is something men want but never ask for? Yeah. Yeah.
I got to think about that. You go ahead and cook on that.
Yeah.
I got to get that some thought. Because I'm thinking, we talking about physical, tangible things, or we talking about
anything? The answers that ranged on here was
I'll go, and that's just something that pops up in my head. But,
yeah,
men, I think we want love and affection, but we don't ask for it. I think that is and the reason why I say that, and it just popped up in mind because it comes off as soft, and and men too, we just don't want to be like, baby, won't you love on me? You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of them things where I don't need you to caress my back necessarily and just make it like, oh, baby. But I just sometimes, man, especially, right. I don't mind you just coming up there and be like, baby, we want to be pampered too at times in our own way, rent us some bath water and let us soak and cook us a dinner. We don't want to have to ask for it. I think it makes us feel like, at least for me, it would make me feel like, this ain't the manly thing to do. Like, I feel like I'm coming up to you like, babe, do you think it would be possible if I could pardon you for a piece of love? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have a little bit of affection?
Could you spare some affection?
Love and affection.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Right.
Like great coupons.
Well, you know what? Because it's like that. Like, I wouldn't, like, for me, whether, as a man, I think whether you're dating in a relationship or even single, I would never ask a woman or even look at a woman to pay for going out for anything. Right? I don't care. Like, that's just automatic. Like, this is what it is. But it would shock me out of like the 1,000 times that I always cover it, which is no problem. I do it without thinking, to say, you know what, I got you. Sometimes, especially from the one that you love, that significant other, you just want to know, like, that you were thinking of me like I think of you. Because, men, a lot of times we are in positions where we think about our significant other and our families way before we think about ourselves. Like, for me, it is hard to buy a pair of shoes. It's not that I can't. I'd just be thinking about everything else. Like, somebody needs something, or I just saw something. I think, you know what I mean? So to have some, the roles be reversal. And I'm not talking about on Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about just on a random, because that Father's Day, man, come on now. That is, I mean, that's not even a consolation prize. Like, you don't even get the food you want. Like, at this point, as men, we just be like, you know what?
Take this macaroni card.
Right. Or how about this? You just be like, just let me be. I mean, just let me do what I want to do, wherever that is, whatever I choose to. Like I said,
I don't do that. Your wife is appreciative on Father's Day. We're lucky to have wives that make us feel appreciated on Father's Day. I can't speak to that one right there.
I'm not talking about Father's Day per se. Okay. I'm saying more so for men, for all of us, that to have somebody, that will come. And I'm not saying that women do it, they don't do it because they don't think about it. And maybe because women don't really, these are conversations that we don't have about relationships, that men want to feel wanted to every now and then. For every millionth time that I do for you because I just love you, that one keeps you going. I don't know if women really recognize like that. You thought about me, like, hey, baby, the kids is gone, and hey, I laid it out for you because I know that it's been a while not to go with me and getting hot and heavy. I ain't trying to go there with it, but I'm just saying all encompassing, like
I get
it's
what you're
all
saying.
you,
That's a
baby.
part of a relationship. And
Well,
we
yeah,
have to
but
remember that too. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like,
That physical, even and emotional, all that. Like men,
yeah,
sometimes we need a recharge. That's the thing. Men, a little goes a long way with men. Like we can go the distance.
That's the
Like I'm
truth.
back, I'm
That is
back
the
and
truth.
running. But we're
absolutely.
opposite of women. That little drop was enough to keep me rolling for the next couple years. You know what I mean? It's just to say that, hey, I was thinking about you.
Yeah,
Some Jill Scott. I was just thinking about you. I mean, what you doing?
that's cool.
What you
Well,
did
Ree,
not
what
do.
do you say, Ree?
For me, because I know that I believe, I guess it's different for every man. So to a man, you'll get a different answer, obviously, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But I like to believe I know us as a species, having been one all 45 years of my life, with no break,
Yeah,
right? We're vocal about wanting physical affection. Like we do not shy away from that. Like
yeah.
we're very vocal. I know me. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let it
right.
be known. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not about to beat around the bush. I'm gonna ask for it. If I need be, I'm gonna do everything short of begging for it. We get to that point, we somewhere else.
Damn.
If I got to do all that,
Mm,
but I'm willing to do
Baby,
everything short of it. I said, I'm not too proud to do it, but I hope I wouldn't have to, right? But I will say what I think, kind of along the lines of what you said, Robert. I know for me, and this is just me personally, and again, I'm sure a lot of men feel this way, that we never admit it. I
yeah.
damn near don't want to say it now, because who knows who might be hearing this shit. And you know what I'm saying? Like, God forbid, especially we live in a day now where if a man expresses this, he's sassy. You can't, but luckily I'm a married man, so it don't matter.
We gotta
Ladies,
yeah.
however you feel
Don't
about
play
it.
them words.
If you want some childish shit about this type of stuff, then peace be your journey, sis. Like, go live your life. But I'm married and happy over here, so it really don't matter how you feel with it. So I'm just go out and say it. I think men we don't ask for, or we're not open about the fact that, like you mentioned it, like Robert, we want to be loved on. We don't ask for it. We don't ask for attention, but I think we do need it. I think we want to be desired the same way women want to be. When you want to be noticed, when you dressed up and look nice, it ain't got to be from, just a compliment. It ain't got to turn into no flirtation. Men want to be, we don't ask for acknowledgement. We don't ask for attention, but it's nice to get it from women who aren't your wife, because your wife is, sometimes you feel like she's obligated to say those things to you, even though she's not. But it feels like that. So to hear from somebody else, it's just like, okay, it lets me know, one, because we still got to feel like we kind of still got it. We can go out there and hunt and fish if need be, right? We ain't put our spears down. We might have retired, put them in the corner, but we ain't tossed them out completely. Because you might never know, when you got to get out there and get to hunting again. I'm not saying, hopefully, God forbid, I'd never have to, you know what I'm saying? Life's a bitch, but God forbid she divorced me, the life and my wife I'm talking about. But we don't ask for those things, but men do seek that. We do want it. We do want to be wanted. We want to feel attractive. We want to feel like, we attract on our physical appearance, not just our personalities. Because men, the good thing about being a man is that we can make up for it in other ways. A lack of finances, you can have some charm. A lack of looks, you can have other things going for you that attract women. It doesn't have to be all the physical and tangible stuff. But I think men, we don't ask for what we desire a lot, which is attention, which is, we don't fish for compliments, but it'd be nice to get it. We don't ask for it, but it'd be nice to get some acknowledgement. It'd be nice to, you know what I mean? We don't ask for that attention, but we need it too, because we are humans. And we feed on that and we thrive on it the same way women do. We don't need as much of it, but we don't ask for it because we feel ashamed to ask for attention. That's my answer. There are other things I can think of, but that's one of them that came up. That was at the top of my list that I could think of offhand.
So in looking at this question, one of the first things that came up was affection, specifically just hugs. Like, there's something about walking in a house and being hugged and being embraced that a lot of guys were like, yeah, it's that simple stuff like compliments. What do you have on? What do you wear? What is that smell? You smell good. And the funny thing is,
how much money I spent on fragrances for it to not be acknowledged? Jesus Christ.
You ain't gonna let me know?
I got some bond number 9 that I take out for special occasions. You ain't gonna tell me I smell nice? Come on, sis.
Right.
Baccarat was
the
slapping.
funny thing is that we all had, I mean, of course, then you get some of the more vocal, hey, bend that over real quick. Like I shouldn't have, but I mean, that speaks to, but it speaks to the totality of who you are as a man, right? You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's an emotional connection. There should be a physical connection. We should be checking all these boxes. But yeah, it was interesting to see that. I agree. I think sometimes the other day I wore something and I put it on and it was actually in the workplace. Me and my wife work at the same building. And so I walked up and needed to grab something. And she looked me over real quick and had a little smile on her face. She's like, I like that. Like how you put that together. And I walked away and I didn't even realize what that did for me. But I all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, a
And it was
bump.
something
Yeah.
I'm the
so
coldest in the
simple and
city. I'm the
subtle.
coldest.
Yeah, something so it just got chilly in this mother. But it was something so simple and so subtle. But yeah, that took me through the rest of my workday. Like, yeah. And so the funny thing is, you mentioned it. We don't need it as much or all the time. I would argue we just don't know how much we need it because we've never allowed ourselves
That's
to
a good
need
point
it.
too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it was like, yeah. So it was interesting to see something as simple as a hug, positive affirmation with somebody that like, hey, just somebody acknowledging, hey, you are doing this for us. You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And sometimes those small things you just don't know. So ladies, if you're listening, be sure to go hug your man. Tell him he looks good. Toot that ass up. No, just
and if it ain't your man, you know what I'm saying? A compliment goes a long way.
No, son, I need you to bust it wide open. Like, hey, you know what? I'm just saying.
It get like that.
When you're in a marriage, you've been in a long-term relationship. Sometimes you got to keep it sizzling to where, especially some women may not know how to say it because you'll have a woman say like, you better act like you like their version of you, baby. You looking fine is remember you got a home to come home to. Or don't
who
get
you
fucked up.
dressing
Like,
up
what
for?
you mean? I'm just there.
Implied. Yeah.
Don't get fucked up. Like, no, what you gonna do is you gonna take your ass to that room and we gonna talk about this.
Right.
I need to.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I want to feel like. I want to feel like what's the song? I want you to want me. Just like I want you.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
But I want
Marvin said it best. Do you not right?
I want to feel like a Marvin Gaye song when I get dressed up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I done threw on the fit. I'm cut. My hair long, but I got it looking silky smooth. The beard game is on point. You know what I mean? You in slow motion walking out like, man, I done sprayed on that. I sprayed on that thing.
Hey, man.
You want her to look at you with them eyes like,
right.
Damn, he just don't like,
This is mine. You know what I mean? That
like
pride and
like it's when you come home, it's waiting for you. Yeah. I need that. I need that energy.
Trust
you know what
me.
I'm saying? That type of energy.
Yeah. When your wife sees you going out somewhere and you getting all dressed up and you put on your best smell good and she tell you like, I'm gonna wait up for you when you get home. All right. I'm not gonna go to sleep tonight. You know what time it is. Like, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking. That's what I wanted. Like, never mind. The acknowledgement is great, but the action is like, even better.
Yeah, bro. This is my last beer because I'm about to
Yeah.
In your mind, like I'm about to blow it out. I'm about to I'm about to put on a performance right now, and you ain't even understanding. But then again, you know what? I've heard something. Listen, it's probably one of the few times you'll hear me quote any words from Steve Harvey. But I have to understand, like when you've been with somebody for so long, as you get older, you got to cook that. You got to, you got to prep that meat early in the day. Be like, baby, you was looking, have yourself a great day. I'm just texting you to let you know I was thinking about you. You was looking so good and so beautiful, baby. I still smell you. You got to do all that. You got to do a whole lot of marinating that fish before you fry it in the pan. And I get that too. But on the same side, I just need to, it's been a long week and, you just been busting your butt. You just need somebody to look at you like you a piece of meat. You know what I'm saying? I need to be, I want to, what I'm saying? What I've heard, some people's like, man, you know what? Couples got to go back to slutting each other out. Like y'all need that. You got to slut each other out every now and then.
I welcome it.
It's full circle.
Yeah.
And but to be honest, it is the essence of what your marriage is supposed to be because I can only do this with you. You know what I mean? Like this is where my commitment lies. This is me and you. So yeah. I thought that was an interesting question. I like the responses, but I think you noticed 3 different guys all married, but hey, we fell right in line with kind of the general consensus. But that fact that you'd be surprised at what a little towards your man goes a long way. So yeah, that was a good segment. I think we might bring that back next week.
And I will say real quick, I wanted to say the other one that was on my mind that was that I think most guys can connect with and resonate with is not just from women, but just from the world in general. Sometimes we don't ask for it. Can we ask for a break from feeling like having to appear like we have it all together? because I don't always have it all together. Sometimes I'm flying, I'm building it as I fly it, and I'm just as scared and nervous as you are, but I can't say it. You know, I can never intimate that. Yeah, like I'm not sure how this is gonna work out.
A handful of screws and
but
don't know where.
Yeah, but you need the reassurance that I know what I'm doing, even though I don't know what I'm doing. I ain't got the answer, Sway. But it is what it is. But that was another question, another answer. But at the top of that, yeah, I would say from my spouse and from our partners, I think it's important because women don't understand how men we're pretty damn easy. Like our instruction manual is all of 5 pages. You know what I mean? Like their manual is War and Peace. You know what I mean? It's the art of war.
Don't leave them hungry. Don't leave them hungry.
Pretty much.
Do those
that's it. I need you.
Yeah, he'll go out there and fight wars for you. Yeah, no doubt. Right. Literally, we've done it for eons. Since the beginning of time, we'll fight wars for you. We'll build homes. But now, you know, I heard real quick. I thought it was funny. It was, I don't know if he was a comedian or whatever. It was on social media, and he was playing a clip of, I want to say it was Lotto, and she was making an argument because, you know, you got these not culture, these gender wars going on, especially with black men and women, and it's kind of disgusting. Sometimes they're just fun discussions. And she was talking about how she wants a traditional man, how you gotta be one traditional woman, but y'all ain't out there building no homes. It's like, and you made a great point. Like, so you mean to tell me if I ask you to make me a meal, I got to build you a home? That's your equivalent? Like, I want to play the food, and you asking me, have I built a home with my bare hands? Like, that's the standard, baby.
Want me to build a sauna. Got it.
That's the standard. Okay, all righty.
Equals
yeah, that's completely unfair, but that's women's minds. They don't understand just how simplistic we are as creatures. I wish they did know, because we got to know them like the back of our hands, even though you never can because it's such a complicated.
Fill my stomach and empty out the rest. I'm good.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Out from there, yeah. Ain't that
keep me rolling. Keep America rolling that way.
Yeah, man. Good episode, fellas. Thank y'all for rocking with us.
We appreciate y'all, man.
Find us.
Y'all know where to find us at, man. At our website at Buzzsprout, right? The Supreme Court Basketball.buzzsprout.com. Again, that's the Supreme Court Basketball at buzzsprout.com, as well as YouTube at the Supreme Court. That's it, just at the Supreme Court. Is it at the basketball? I can't even remember right now, but it's at the Supreme Court. I think so. And wherever you get your podcast, whether it be Google, what is the other one? Everybody, Apple or Spotify, what have you?
Spotify.
Just look, nothing specific, but you just type in the Supreme Court Basketball Podcast. We should pop up. Hopefully.
What was L Boogie's thing?
L Boogie.
Brooks.
Oh, definitely. In our one of our affiliates, the homie Stuart London Brooks, with his podcast at No Dirt Sheets at YouTube. You can definitely follow him there. But again, yeah, you definitely got to give that a listen for our wrestling content and the wrestling lovers. Definitely want to check that out. And I think there's something else I was thinking of. Well, I guess that's about it that I can think of right now. So that's it for me. That's all I got for y'all. I'm pretty exhausted.
In the books, y'all, be good to each other. Compliment your man. That's the task, ladies. If you're listening, go ahead and compliment your man this week. See what it does for him.
Right.
And in turn, what it does for you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, right.
Amen. Right?
Man.
Oh, shout out to the brother-in-law who got engaged over the weekend and found out having a baby girl. So shout out to you, Mia.
All right.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
That's what's up. That's some great news.
Start this journey that we've been on now for some years. So welcome to the beginning of the beautiful chapter of life, man. So we celebrate you today.
You on that caravan, huh?
We out there. That's it then, right? We out.
Yeah.
That's it. Till next time. Hey.
Boom.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.